Hello everybody, hope that you're doing well. Today I'm going to be presenting my final project, The Art of Recovery. To begin, these are all of my different sketches and ideas and concepts that I have come up throughout the course of this project. As you can see, I was trying out many different ideas and different styles of artwork while trying to figure out what would be best for this project. It was a lot of fun and is something that I want to continue in the future. To begin, this piece represents our world's social recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic. While this pandemic is still ongoing, the world is slowly recovering from the devastation that the virus has caused. The top portion of this illustration represents the chaos, confusion, and sadness that the pandemic has caused. I purposely chose to have this piece in black and white because I wanted there to be a bleakness and a sadness. For me, when the pandemic was at its peak, the world seemed to lack its colors. I was locked inside, away from family and friends, and I felt very isolated and depressed. And this is what I wanted to represent with this portion of the piece. The middle portion represents the beginning of recovery. A doctor is shown to represent all of the medical persons who bravely fought against the virus, and the hands shaking represent the world's assembly in order to combat the virus spread and coming up with a cure. The final portion represents the current world, and while we have not gone back to full normalcy, we are in a much better place than it was 2 years ago. People are able to see each other, and the virus spread for the most part has begun to slow, and for me, the world has finally regained its colors. Moving on, this piece is set in a polluted wasteland. Trees are dead and burnt from forest fires, water is replaced with oil and wastewater, and a factory turns a once blue sky black with smoke. In this world, the natural world has been wiped out, and the only thing that remains is the consequences of human neglect. The lone figure shown represents Mother Nature. She weeps with her head hung low and arms wrapped around her. She sits in the murky water of the wasteland with her skin turned gray. On her back is a single ray of light that shines, allowing for small plants to begin to take charge. The single ray represents the importance of nature's recovery from human devastation and what may happen in our future if we do not help our Earth recover. Many people do not pay mind to mental recovery, and it is something that many see as a weakness or defeat. However, I personally do not share these thoughts. To me, the mental recovery is one of great dedication and triumph. The figure shown is my subject of mental recovery. She wears a teal and purple sash in representation of both addiction recovery and mental recovery, respectively. She embraces herself in an act of defiance to the darkness that is trying to consume her. She gazes up to the illuminated butterflies, following the light and basking in the light of her achievements thus far. She bears golden cracks in representation of her brokenness, but these cracks also represent her acceptance to her imperfections. I greatly took inspiration from the Japanese kintsugi, the art of repairing broken pottery with gold, when creating this piece. To me, the process of mentally recovering is much like how kintsugi artists repair broken dishes. It takes time, patience, and a love for the craft of rebuilding. And finally, I'm sure that many of you are familiar with physical recovery, at least in some aspect. The figure shown is my subject of mental recovery. The subject shown shows many signs of grave injury, being both an amputee and a survivor of cancer. I chose this model because many people are ashamed of the scars that they have accumulated over their lifetimes. Many believe that they are ugly, grotesque. This figure, however, embraces their scars and draws more attention to them with the colorful tattoos on their arm, leg, and neck. In this work, I wanted to convey that scars and injuries are not something that one needs to hide. That scars are not always a bad thing. I want my figure to represent the confidence of overcoming a physical injury and what can happen if one continues their journey to recovery. Some symbolism that I have incorporated in this piece include the bright red garments and the tattoos on the figure. The red cloth is symbolic of courage and tenacity, something that is greatly needed when recovering from a physical illness, whether it's minor or large. The phoenix on their head represents the road to recovery. The phoenix is known as being reborn from the ashes of death